Tier list for season 16, season 26, season 2026. So many seasons were in here. It's a brand new season and so many changes to talk about. And the meta has changed so much. And yeah, it's definitely, for me, I think playing ADC on this patch has been way more fun than previously. I was kind of not dreading returning to League, but I wasn't that excited to return to League just in general. But having actually tested all these changes out now, I think ADC feels so much better to play. Feels like you have a lot more damage. It's still kind of the same problems as before. So if you were getting frustrated playing ADC before because support, jungle, not doing what you want, you're gonna have the same issues now. But now when you get to those 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items, you're gonna be doing way more damage, especially if you're playing crit ADCs, who are really truly the winners of this patch. I'll just preface this by saying, like, if you're playing a crit ADC, you're gonna have a good time. If you're playing an on-hit ADC, you're not gonna have a great time. Okay, starting off with Aphelios. I think Aphelios S or A tier for sure. I'm gonna put him in S tier because he's my boy. He's so strong. He got hotfix nerfed. He was that strong, but he's still really strong because hotfix nerf wasn't that big. I've been testing out maxing Q fully because they nerfed the Emax. Not sure which one is better. Need a mathematician to do the math for me. When should I be maxing out lethality? Should I be doing like 4 or 5 points in Q and then Emax, or should I just be maxing out Q and then maxing E? Not fully sure. I could test it myself in practice tool, but if you want to do the math for me, I would love that. So Aphelios is great. Rush Storm Racer every single game. Way better than Collector. That's like 2% better win rate. Even if you don't get the good items, even if you have to sit there like a little cuck in your chair with the scout slingshot and the crit cloak, you have to tank it, because once you get Stormracer, you're Exodia and nobody can stop you, and you become the bully instead of the bullied. Okay, so we go Stormracer every single game. And with that, I've been going a lot of fleet footwork, because Stormracer, fleet footwork, the inherent synergy, you prop off at the same time, you play around both procs at the same time, just a jolly old good time. So fleet footwork, Stormracer, you're gonna have a jolly old good time. PTA if they're like a little bit more melee and you think you can fight a bit more, and then Conquer if they're really tanky. Then Ashe, I think pretty mid. The thing is, okay, I need to actually look up Ashe wiki here to do some quick calculation, because I'm pretty sure Ashe didn't get anything. If I remember correctly with the patch notes, she got very little. She got attack speed growth reduced and attack damage growth reduced to 3, and her base critical strike chance increased to 100% based on critical strike from 0 to 75%, and the infinity edge scaling reduced to 30% from 40%. So she got the same thing there. I guess it's actually not that bad. I guess it's not that bad. Maybe I'm just a doomer on Ashe. Maybe I'm just a doomer. It's not that bad. She got pretty much what we got then. She got 25% more damage on her auto attacks when she gets more and more crit, and also 30% damage on infinity edge instead of 40% because they nerfed infinity edge, right? But they did nerf her W or bonus AD ratio, but it's actually not as bad as I thought. But I just feel like she's not packing the same punch that the other crit champions are. So you're like, and she also can't abuse any of the new items, being Essence River or Stormracer, which I think are both really good. So we'll get into that. Okay, and then we have Draven. So Draven is a really weird one, because if he was not bugged, I would say he's here, and maybe even here. Okay, I think if Draven was not bugged, he would be insanely OP. But Draven has a bug right now where his axes, if he catches an axe and then does an auto attack as he's catching the axe, his axe damage is reduced by 30%, which is pretty common when you play Draven, that you auto attack as soon as you catch an axe, because you're, you know, juggling axes and perma auto attacking as much as you can. So it's going to affect you in pretty much every game that you play with Draven, and that's the big reason why Draven has a way lower win rate this patch than he had previously. Even though, I mean, actually the winner hasn't gone down that much, but his win rate, I think, if he wasn't bugged, would be like 52% right now. Because with Essence River, he's really good. With BT, he's really good. Even with Collector, he's good. Although, holy shit, that win rate is dope on Collector. That's crazy. I mean, I personally prefer Essence River and BT, but I think he should be in a really good spot right now. But until they fix his bug, I'm gonna be putting him like in B tier. I think low B tier is where he belongs. Then we have Caitlyn. I actually think Caitlyn is kind of hidden strong right now, but it feels like people haven't quite figured it out. I'm curious if you could go the Hex Optics item on Caitlyn first. Some people have been trying it out, not to that much success, but it would make sense because, you know, she's 650 auto range, so you're getting nearly that full 10% increased damage with attacks, and the build path on the Hex Optics is not too bad. But I think as well with Caitlyn, Stormracer, you're gonna have a jolly old good time, kind of similar to Aphelios. You can go Stormracer plus Fleet, and then you're just running around and you do a ton of damage with like crits now doing so much more. And then Mel Medada. I actually don't think Mel is that strong anymore, but she's annoying. But she did get nerfed pretty hard. I'm gonna put her in A tier. She's just so... This champ should be removed. You know what? I'm not rating Mel Medada. She should be removed. She goes back into the pool. Fuck you, Mel. Mel, Yumi, remove those two champions. Everybody's happy. Everybody's happy. Okay, Kai'Sa. I think Kai'Sa is kind of a loser this patch. She didn't get anything new. Now, you might say, well, I can go and crit on Kai'Sa. In which case, yeah, you're playing crit on Kai'Sa. And that does more damage than crit on Kai'Sa previously. But you're playing a champion that has no crit scalings. So why wouldn't I instead play something like Tristana that scales with crit and then buy crit on that? For me, crit Kai'Sa's just never really made that much sense. The only time it made sense was when she had like really OP items like Gale Force, like old Collector, old Stormracer, the shit. Like that was like, it was so fucking OP on her. Then it made sense, but now I think Kai'Sa is like not really that crazy. I think you can go this Dawn and Dusk item, and I think it's not bad. I mean, it kind of makes sense. It's just, it's a bit awkward with her evolutions, right? Because Rageblade plus Nashor's Tooth is perfect for the evolutions. Wait, actually, and Dusk and Dawn is 30 and 70. Yeah, okay, so it would work for the evolutions with Dusk and Dawn as well. Yeah, then it could be good. Could be good. Definitely could be good. But I don't see her being as much more than B tier, so I'm gonna put her behind Ashe here in B tier. Now we have Jhin. I think Jhin with Stormracer, A tier as well. I think his win rate is still not that high because a lot of people are going Collector. But if you're buying Stormracer, you're really good. And if you remember, if any of you guys played back when Stormracer was a thing, it was always an item built on Jhin. It makes so much sense on him. The way Jhin plays is he walks up, he does an auto attack, he walks back up, does an auto attack, walks back. Like he kind of plays this little annoying style. That's also why you go rapid fire all the time on Jhin, because you do one big auto attack and then you back up. And Stormracer just perfectly synergizes with that so well. I think he belongs in A tier, maybe. Nah, not S tier, not S tier. And then we have Jinx. I think Jinx got very light nerfs. So a big part of like, when we think about how strong these ADCs are in this patch, is how much did they get compensated nerfed by the fact that their crits do more damage. And I think Jinx got off pretty light. She got a little bit worse attack speed scaling, and her ulti does a little bit less damage. You can see her win rate's 54%, which is pretty damn high, but she's always pretty damn high win rate. But 54 is pretty crazy. So I'm definitely inclined to put her up in S tier alongside my boy here, Aphelios. I do think that she's really thriving on this patch because just her crits do more damage, and all of her damage is in crits, you know? So it's a good patch to be Jinx. You can also buy the Hexoptics item. I think especially as like a later situational item on Jinx makes a lot of sense. Could try to go at first item, but Unital just makes way more sense, I think. And then Lucian. I think Lucian's really good. I've been hearing I saw like Reptiles thought Lucian was like insane. I don't feel like Lucian's insane. I think he's really good, but I think he just goes up in S tier for me alongside the others. I don't feel like he's like in a special type of Z tier. If anything, the one champ that I'm thinking that could be Z tier we'll talk about later, but I think for now I'm gonna put him in S tier. But big reason why Lucian is back and really good, it's just the new Essence River is so much better than the old one and provides so much more damage while still giving you infinite mana, giving you crit, giving you AD, everything that you need really. So yeah, you're gonna be chilling. And then MF, A tier, didn't really get changed that much. Like she's gonna be going the same builds, like BT into crit, or she's gonna be going lethality. But just overall a solid option, really easy to play, does a lot of damage, high like decent scaling and high agency in lane. Nilah for me is always hard to rate because if I'm being honest with you, I have not played Nilah in half a year, no, in 3 months, and I haven't played against Nilah in 3 months. But her stats are so fucking stupid, it's unbelievable. And she got hotfix nerfed and her stats are still absolutely ridiculous. But nobody plays the champ. It's such a weird champ where I think Nilah's been OP for so long now, but nobody wants to play her, me included. I think the champ design is a total disaster, and it feels so weird that Nilah And Samira got released before Nilah. Yet Nilah feels 10 times more clunky than Samira, even though they have kind of the same concept of both being melee. But Nilah just feels so much worse to play in comparison. I never play Nilah, but I mean, this 56% win rate. Like, what? I look at this. This is crazy, no? This is crazy. For sure, she has to go up in S tier. She has to. Because this is a stupid win rate. This is stupid. This is the type of win rate where I don't even, like, I can't even grasp it. So I'm gonna put her in S tier. Even though I don't actually feel like I know her power ceiling that well, I'm gonna put her in S tier just because that's the dumbest win rate I've seen in my whole life. Samira, I think got buffed quite a bit. She, in general, I think the game is a little more explosive now. People die much faster, everybody does a lot more damage, everybody has a little bit more gold, and everybody's a little bit more accelerated, and Samira is super happy with that. And I don't know about you guys and how your games have been, but in my games, nobody are playing much tanks. Very few tanks. So I think Samira goes up into A tier. Because if you get a good engage support, you get something like the Rel, or even you get something like the Renata that can provide that W for you, that ulti, that disruption that she really loves, then you're gonna have a great time with Samira. But if you have a Sona, a Lulu, Nami, some bullshit like that, Soraka, it's gonna be rough. Senna. I think Senna got quite a bit stronger this patch, but very few people actually play her ADC. But I think she's still like B tier for me. It's just kind of like, why would you play Senna? She doesn't have that crazy of a laning phase. She doesn't provide that much to her team right now. Riot is like, sometimes they want her to be an ADC, sometimes they want her to be a support. They can never really decide. And I don't know, Senna's another weird champ design that just doesn't really have that coherence that you're really looking for. And I'm not personally tempted to play Senna at all right now. But if you like that supportive playstyle, maybe my guest. And then Ezreal. So Ezreal's win rate is still pretty horrendous. It's one of the worst out of any ADCs, I believe. It is the worst, actually, out of any ADC. But some people have been trying to gaslight me into saying that he's good. I don't think he's good. I don't think he's good. I think he's C tier. Why do I think he's C tier? Because for me, the simple fact is, whenever crit champions are good, Ezreal is not good. If crit is good, Ezreal is not good. Because Ezreal can't access crit. I mean, he can, but then you're playing... It's Kai'Sa problem all over again. You're playing a champion where none of his abilities can crit, and his abilities do a ton of damage, so you want your abilities to be able to crit. So then you can't play crit, you know? And it's like, yeah, we can go Essence River, which is like crit, but the Essence River now has crit scaling, so that feels pretty shit too. And then you're gonna get outscaled by everybody way more now than you would before, because before they would do 25% less damage, because crit will do 25% damage, and Ezreal's just sitting there sad, crying in a corner. So Ezreal, still, you can snowball lane, you can win games, and you can have high impact, but you're really on a timer, because you're really gonna get outscaled if you're up against crit ADC, and you're just not gonna have a good old time. So yeah, and then Sivir. I think Sivir for me is the potential C tier, because this is the most stupid stats ever. Like nearly 55% win rate. Like this is nearly the same win rate as Nilah, but this is a piss easy noob champ that even your grandma is playing. You know what I mean? Like this is silly. This is just silly. Sivir barely got nerfed. Her Q got a tiny bit nerfed, but her W now does way more damage when you crit. So I think Sivir is probably up in Z tier. I need to put some games myself into Sivir. I played her a game just now, but I feel like I don't have that expertise right now in Sivir that I really need to get, because she's very easy, but you still need to kind of know the limits of your damage so that you can really push the ball forward, if you know what I'm saying. But I think she's absolutely fantastic. I think after the hotfix nerf to Essence River, Yuntal is probably just better in most games, especially if you can get that BF sword. If you don't get the BF sword, there's an argument for Essence River. But I mean, Yuntal just provides all the stats that you need, and I feel like it's kind of fake, the mana. Like you don't really need the mana on Sivir, especially if you go Presence of Mind. And the thing, if you go Essence River, you're kind of forced to go Nabori second, as I just experienced now, because if you don't go Nabori second, then you have no attack speed, and it feels pretty shit. So I would recommend going Yuntal into IE and then LDR, and if you have to go Essence River, then go Essence River into Nabori into IE, and then LDR fourth. And then we have Smolder, Smoldinho. So I played 2 games of Smolder, and I feel like the champion felt pretty bad to me, but his win rate's actually pretty good. But the thing with Smolder now is that he's kind of not good with crit again, because they made it so that his Q essentially scales 50% less from crit than before, and therefore buying IE gives like 50% less value than it gives on any other ADC. So Essence River being back for him is absolutely fantastic. But with the crit nerf that they did for him, I feel like he feels pretty underwhelming to play. But then I look at the stats and it's like his stats are quite a bit better, you know? Like he's 54% win rate, although the average win rate is 51.7 here, while the average win rate here is 50. So it's important to note that he didn't gain 4% win rate, but he did gain like 2% win rate, which is still pretty valuable. So I'm leaning towards putting him in low A tier, even though personally, from my personal experience, the 2 games that I played of him, however, both of them were Smolder mid, and Smolder mid is kind of dog shit. Like probably if I look at the statistics here, Smolder mid is pretty dog shit. So it's kind of biased. I'm kind of biased here because I played Smolder mid and Smolder mid is pretty bad. So, but I didn't really feel like Smolder's that great. And for me, I started enjoying playing Smolder more crit and more like kind of this one-shot type of style. So now that type of playstyle is kind of more gone, you're more going to be going S-True into Shojin, into RFC, and then like a situational item every game. I don't think Smolder's that entertaining. Maybe I won't be playing him that much, but we'll see. Then we have Kalista, ECC tier, maybe even D tier. I think she's dog shit. She got nothing out of this patch, absolutely nothing. Nobody plays her. Her win rate's not terrible, but it's still like negative if we think about the average win rate. And it's just like, why would we play Kalista right now? There's no incentive to play Kalista. I'd rather play any other champ. I'd rather play Draven if I wanted the same lane bully potential, or like just anything else really. So yeah, just think she's pretty bad and hard to play, hard to master, very low, like no real reason to pick up Kalista right now. No, we have Tristana. I think she got a little bit, like the nerf on her E was pretty significant. But she's still kind of like she benefits off of the crit being buffed, but I didn't feel like she got as much out of it as other champions did, and the nerfs for her were pretty heavy. So I'm gonna be putting her low in the A tier, maybe even feels like she should be B tier. I think maybe top of B tier makes more sense for her here. Just feel like they went a little bit heavy on the nerfs on Tristana, I'd say, because her E now does way less damage than it did before. Granted, the E before did do insane amounts of damage, but I felt like it was, you know, fair. Like I'm the Yumper, you know, let a brother Yump, you know. But yeah, I'm gonna put her B tier. Not the greatest, still all right, but a bit weaker than she was before for sure. And then we got Twitch-Aroni. I have not actually played anything against Twitch, but I feel like he should be pretty happy. He's a great crit ADC, and he has a lot of options. You can either go this little Fiend Hunter Bolts, or you can go the Hurricane as your Zeal item. And then there's also the Hex Optics as well, which you could even go later on as a situational item. I think in general he just benefited off of this patch, but I don't think he's anything like special, anything to write home about. So I'm just going to put him in the middle of A tier here. So I think just if you can get the ball rolling and you can get fed off of the stealth, it's kind of the same Twitch as always. If you get fed, you go mid lane, you stealth up on the mid laner, get a few kills there, get a few kills in jungle, and then eventually you get to 3, 4, 5 items, and then you take over team fights and you glide, you know? Everybody knows the deal. Twitch has done it for a long time now. I think he's still great at doing that, but I don't think he got like massively buffed from this patch. Then we have Yunara. So Yunara is in a bit of a weird boat in that she's a crit ADC, but she kind of feels like an on-it ADC. And most people are going Kraken first on her because that's kind of what's always been the best for the last few patches. So she doesn't really benefit that much off of the crit changes until later on once she starts to ramp up and get these crit items, which I think is a big reason why her win rate is pretty low compared to a lot of other champions. But Yunara is also a weird one for me because she's had a really low win rate. Like if we look at the past few patches, she's had a really low win rate for the past few months, you know? Ever since she got released, she had a few good patches and then she got nerfed, and then ever since then she's been really low win rate. But the weird part is not just that she's had low win rate. The weird part is that if you looked at the ADC ladder before the new season, a lot of the top rated ADCs were spamming Yunara with a really high win rate. And it seemed to be like their elo key, their elo pick, which kind of goes into the contrast of like, is she actually just a bad solo queue champ, or what's going on here? And for me, it's weird because Yunara has all the qualities of being a good solo queue champ. She's not that hard to play, right? She's not crazy hard. She's not super easy either, but I'd say she's like middle of the pack, right? And she has a lot of mobility. She has a lot of self-agency. She has a powerful ulti. She has good wave clear. She has decent range. There's no real big downside to her, but she just seems to always be really bad for the average player, which makes me want to put her bottom of B tier. I think I don't quite want to put her in C tier with these two other boys because I don't think she belongs in C tier. But I do think that just for the average player, it's hard to make Yunara work, really. It's really hard for make Yunara work. And then we got Corki. Corki. Another champion that has also seen a lot of pro player presence, but been pretty underwhelming in solo queue for a while. He also, kind of similar to Yunara, doesn't benefit that much off of the crit because he takes a while to start building the crit. Maybe some people will try to go Ezreal first on him. Doesn't look like it has the best preliminary statistics here, but maybe it'll change as time goes by. But overall, I think Corki for me is pretty much C tier. I think he's similar both to Ezreal, really, that you really need to win lane. And if you stomp lane and you're always ahead, then you can one-shot people and continue to do that and be useful. But if you don't, then... oh, wrong patch. You're fucking right, wrong patch. I will change patch. Maybe it's better to win right now, and it's true. It is better now. Quite a bit better now. Yeah, maybe. I think I'm still gonna put him in C tier. Maybe he should be in B tier somewhere, but I hate Corki, so I'm gonna put him on B tier. I'm gonna put him in C tier. And Corki, his name is Corki. I put him in C tier. It's pretty easy math here. Sigs, top of A tier, I'd say. He's pretty damn good. Not better than the top crit ADCs, but pretty obnoxious to lane against. Mages are decent on bot lane. I don't think mages are that OP on bot lane right now because crit is OP. I think if you're struggling against mages, then I'm sorry, skill issue, you got way more than mages got from this new season. So you should be pretty happy. Saya, I think, got pretty nice buffs this patch, in the sense that this new Essence River is really good for her, and she's really happy with it. And then you can transition that into Navori, into IE, and just do a lot of damage that way. But she's still a very situational ADC, and it's so rare that I ever find myself wanting to play Saya. So I think I'm gonna put her B tier. Dragdar thinks Ezreal is OP right now? Really? What makes him think that? That goes against all common belief I've had. Like, his win rate is dog shit. Whenever crit champions are good, Ezreal is pretty dog shit because he doesn't buy crit. And he didn't really get anything other than Essence River, and the new Essence River is worse than the old Essence River on Ezreal, so... Or not the one from last patch, but the old Essence River, you know? So I think Draven is strong because the faster gold acquisition gives me game has big ADC. I don't know, I'm not convinced. Not convinced. Well, let's finish the tier list. Seri. I think B tier. She's just like fine, an average, maybe even lower. Lower B tier, I think. Like kind of similar. Yunara, Seri, kind of similar champs, honestly. Seems like people going like first strike, doing a bit of cookage on Seri. I don't know. Which is just alright. You can go Stormazer on her. Has a bit better win rate than Yuntal actually, but I feel like Yuntal brings more juice to the table for Seri. And then there's the Fiend Hunter Bolts and Hurricane. I actually think Fiend Hunter Bolts on Seri is probably bait in most games. I think people really underestimate how much damage Hurricane does with Seri's ultimate later on in the game and how crucial it is to really carrying teamfights with Seri. I think in most games you're still going to be going Hurricane, but in games where they have less champs that really clump up, and Fiend Hunter Bolts is definitely going to be nice for her. But yeah, I'm going to put her in middle of B tier here. She's not great, not worse. Then Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw as well, I'd say a pretty big loser this patch. But his winner is pretty crazy, but it's 1% pick rate, so it's kind of like, yeah. He's a big loser in terms of like, he didn't get anything new, but he was always pretty decent. I'm gonna put her in like here in B tier. I think this feels pretty fair. Still situationally strong if they're like tanky, you have a Lulu, but I wouldn't really play Corki that much, I'm not gonna lie. And then Varus. Varus is maybe, I think he goes in C tier with the rest of them, but I think it should be like this. I think this is how C tier should look. I'm kind of inclined to put, what if I do like this actually? I kind of want Kalista and Varus in their own tier, because I think they're both quite a bit weaker than the others. I think Varus just is dog shit, to be honest. He's just been so nerfed for competitive, he falls off a cliff, and you need to really play lane well, win on him. And yeah, just not that good. You can buy lethality and you can buy on it, so you have that versatility, but you can't buy crit, and crit is what's OP right now, so not happy. Then Vayne. Vayne I think is pretty good. Somewhere in B tier here. Only thing is that Reptile mentioned that's true is that like, because waves spawn every 25 seconds, that's a little bit annoying for Vayne because it takes quite a while to push minions, right? But I do think with the new Storm Racer, with the new Essence River, she has a lot more diversity in her build paths. You can either choose to go more of this like crit one-shot type of Vayne build, or you can go just a normal on-hit build. And I think both can perform really well in different circumstances. One where they're more tanky and you want more DPS, and the other one you just want to be more mobile and have more burst. I think Vayne should be eating pretty good this patch and should be pretty decent with the new items and all things considered. Just need to find the right spot for her. She's still better in top lane than she's bot lane. So if you really want to play a lot of Vayne, probably should just start to pick her top lane instead. I'm not gonna lie, ban Malphite, and then ask someone to ban Jax, worst case, and then make it work. So yeah, that was my tier list for the new season of ADC. I think it's a great season. I'm really happy with the changes Riot made. I am really enjoying playing ADC, and I hope you guys have been having a good time climbing as well. And yeah, maybe this tier list will help you guys with the champs that you want to pick to climb in the new season. I wish you guys the best of luck.